Welcome back! My name is Baller Scuba. This is Video Games Over Time. We are still in 1986. Today, we're going to talk about Might and Magic. The story of Might and Magic Book 1, The Secret of the Inner Sanctum, takes us to Jon Van Caneghem. Jon Van Caneghem is an American video game designer. Having graduated from UCLA with a degree in computer science, Van Caneghem began programming video games in 1983, starting with what would become Might and Magic. Van Caneghem wrote the game almost single-handedly over the course of 3 years, but could not find a publisher for the game. He founded his own company, New World Computing, in 1984 with his wife Michaela as well as Mark Caldwell to self-publish the game. Michaela would also help program the game. The couple would receive help with art from Joseph Ferreira and Vincent DeQuatro. After 3 years of work, New World Computing was able to get a distribution deal with Activision to publish Might and Magic. Might and Magic Book 1, The Secret of the Inner Sanctum is a role-playing game based on Dungeons & Dragons. The player creates a party of up to 6 characters. These characters will have one of 6 classes, including Knight, Cleric, Robber, Sorcerer, Paladin, and Archer. The characters will have one of 5 different races, including Human, Elf, Half-Orc, Gnome, and Dwarf. These will help determine their statistics, which are Might, Endurance, Accuracy, Personality, Intelligence, and Luck. They will also have an alignment and a gender, though these are far less important in the game itself. Once the party is created, they will set out on the world of Varn, a mostly medieval setting. The player's goal is to discover the secret of the Inner Sanctum. The plot, of course, complicates from there. The world is explored in a first-person perspective, while the combat is presented in text. The game is turn-based, both in exploration and combat. Activision released Might and Magic Book 1, The Secret of the Inner Sanctum, to Apple II computers in 1986. That is a brief backstory to Might and Magic. With that told, it's time to play the game for ourselves. And here we are in the game. This is Might and Magic Book 1, Secret of the Inner Sanctum, as you can see on these flashing screens here. Copyright 1986 by, let's go with Jon Van Caneghem. I think that's what I've been saying this whole time. And then we have New World Computing Inc., copyright 1986, released by Activision. We do have some scenes here, so let's go through those before we get into character creation. I will say today we are not going to actually start playing the game. We're going to focus on character creation for the time being for this video, and then we'll pick up once I have created my characters next video. So let's get into the scenes first. A sign above the door reads the Inn of Erlequin. Sure. And these are all your options. There's your party. While adventuring, you encounter creatures both friendly and fierce. Every monster's characteristics are unique and challenging. Here's in the middle of a dungeon. It says it's in a cavern. There's some sound. Discover a warrior's stronghold or a wizard's lair, a dragon's den, or a maiden fair. The treasure could be something. And then I didn't read fast enough, apparently. We'll have to go through these again. Fantastic creatures abound. To deal with these menacing beasts is an elaborate combat system featuring 94 spells and something else. God, I can't read fast enough for this. I might have the speed a little high, but that's okay. Journey now into an age of chivalry in an alternate reality and explore the land of Varn through the forces of might and magic. Got that one. All right, let's kind of go through these quickly. I think I can go through it. Every monster's characteristics are unique and challenging. There's something. The treasure could be great if you meet the challenge. Like nothing great there. 94 spells and numerous battle options, apparently. Got some great artwork here, too. And then I got that one already. Okay, so that's kind of what the game has to show before you get into it. I do have the manual in front of me. Normally I would kind of read that, but the manual is pretty dry. So we'll go through it as it's relevant, which is going to be kind of right now. So let's go ahead and switch over to disk B here. And then we can actually start creating our characters. If memory serves me right, I did delete all the characters. They are gone, so we're starting fresh, which is probably not good considering what happened last time I started fresh in the Bard's Tale. If you're unfamiliar with the Dungeons & Dragons battle system, we have done it a few times. I'll try to explain it briefly, but basically all the stats are going to be important. You create the character, and yeah, we'll get into it as we move forward. Let's just start trying to create a character. So as I hit C to create a new character, they have randomly given me some stats here. And I believe the stats go 7 to 18? No, 3 to 18. That's kind of the random numbers that show up. So 18 being the best, 3 being the worst. And what their character's statistics are will determine what class they can be. So for this character, the only class that they could be is knight or robber. And I believe you can always be a robber because they don't have any statistic that is absolutely needed for them. So let's kind of talk briefly about the stats first, and then we'll get into classes, and then we'll get into the rest of it. There's a lot to talk about. Yes, it is 3 to 18 in these 7 statistics. That's what randomly shows up according to the manual, and I'll be reading from the manual most of the time here. So, intellect. Any character's general knowledge, of particular importance to sorcerers and archers as it affects sorcerer spell points. Might. Any character's strength, of particular importance to knights and paladins as it affects the damage done by a character in battle. Personality. Any character's general charisma, of particular importance to paladins and clerics as it affects cleric spell points. Endurance. Any character's stamina in battle, of particular importance to knights and paladins as it affects hit points, the amount of damage that can be sustained before death. Speed. Any character's quickness and agility. Higher speeds increase a character's armor class. Speed also determines the order of combat during battle, with the fastest character or monster going first. Speed sounds very important, as does endurance. Accuracy. Any character's ability to land a blow on the enemy during combat, of particular importance to archers. And then finally, luck. Any character's chance of succeeding when all else fails, a random element whose effects cannot be predicted. So those are, basically your stats. Your intellect and personality are going to determine much more of your casting classes. Might and endurance is much more important for your fighting classes. Speed and accuracy. Well, accuracy is going to be for your archer, and then speed is important for everybody. But if I'm being honest, endurance and speed are important for everybody. I want everybody to have at least 13 in those stats because that's when you start getting some bonuses. So we will re-roll this character before we ever set anything up. So let's kind of talk about the character classes. There are 6. We can only have access to 2 with this particular setup, but there's not really going to be a setup that I'm going to be able to view everybody for. So we'll just kind of go through all of them quickly. Once again, the manual is pretty dry. First, we have Knight. Their prime statistic is Might. They have no spells. A Knight begins with the greatest number of hit points and best all-around fighting skills of any character. He or she can use any weapon or item of armor unless of opposite alignment or designed exclusively for another class. At higher experience levels, a knight gains the ability to attack more than once in each combat round. Now, I should point out that I'm playing the Apple II version. If you're playing a later version, that ability happens much sooner than it does in this version. We're playing the harder version. I think it takes until level 8 before we start attacking more than once in a round. In the other version, I think it's level 4. Like, it happens way, way sooner. Next up is Paladin. This is the hardest because they have 3 prime statistics. You need Might, Personality, and Endurance. But they get access to clerical spells at higher experience levels. And clerical spells are more defensive and healing, but A paladin can use any weapon or item of armor unless of opposite alignment or designed exclusively for another class. We'll hear that phrase a lot. General fighting skills are equal to an archer's, except that a paladin cannot use missile weapons during hand-to-hand combat. Next up is archer. They need intellect and accuracy. They will get access to sorcerer spells at higher experience levels. An archer can use any weapon unless of opposite alignment or designed exclusively for another class. An archer can wear only chainmail or lighter armor and cannot carry a shield. An archer can use any missile weapon even during hand-to-hand combat. Then we have a cleric. They need personality. They have cleric spells, shockingly, which are defensive and healing. A cleric can use chainmail or any lighter armor and can carry a shield. Weapons are restricted to club, mace, flail, staff, and or great hammer. A cleric may not use missile weapons. At higher experience levels, a cleric gains the ability to use higher level spells. Then we have sorcerer. They need intellect. They have access to sorcerer spells, which are offensive and combative, they say. A sorcerer may wear only padded armor and may not carry a shield. Weapons are limited to club, dagger, and or staff. As a sorcerer advances in experience level, he or she gains the ability to use more powerful, high-level spells. And then finally, we have the robber. They have no prime statistics, so pretty much any roll should give you robber. And then they have no spells. A robber's armor is limited to ringmail and shield. Weapons include sling, crossbow, and all one-handed weapons, such as a short sword or dagger. As experience levels increase, the robber increases his or her ability to pick locks and disarm traps. A robber's fighting ability equal those of a cleric. All right, so that's kind of a good introduction to the kind of stats and the classes. But like I said, I want to re-roll. I'll try to make one character here. And then I'll spend time off screen making the other characters. But what I want from all my characters, all 6 of them, they need 13 endurance and 13 speed. So we don't have that yet. So I'm just going to hit return to re-roll. No. Close, but no. All right, we're just going to keep going until I see it. All right, so that works, but I need another stat. Because all I can be is a robber here. But this might be my best robber. I don't want to waste my first one on a robber, but that seems to be the way that it goes. So I'll create this. Maybe I'll replace him later. But I have 14 endurance, 13 speed, and 13 luck. Now, is that how I want to stick with it? No, I do need to reroll. It's not going to work. And I'll explain why after we actually get a character that I can work with here. Maybe? No. I need a little bit more of a buffer on those 13s. This might work, actually. Let me see here. And if I make him that, then it's intellect goes down, luck goes down, personality goes down, might and endurance go up. Okay, that works. This works for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a knight. Intellect might have been good for the sorcerer, but the other things wouldn't have worked for that, I don't think. No. So let's go with a knight. I want, the might is... Yeah. Actually, I have 15 intellect. That might be better. They're making this difficult for me. Okay, we're going to go with a gnome here. So we're going to make a sorcerer because intellect is better. And then we're going to look at races. Now, most of the races don't mean a lot. Well, I should say according to the manual. But they mean something outside of that. So let's go over the races. What the manual says is Human, strong resistance to fear, some resistance to sleep spells. Elf, strong resistance to fear. Dwarf, some resistance to poison. Gnome, some resistance to magic spells. Half-orc, moderate resistance to sleep spells. But they do say a little bit more. Different races have different hidden strengths which do not show up in a character profile. That's kind of what they're trying to say here. But selection of certain races may change the rating on one or more of a character's vital statistics. And that's what they don't go into more detail on, and that's what I've been looking at. So the stats will change if you choose a race. Well, when you choose a race, because you kind of have to. But humans, they're standard, so no changes when you choose a human. If you choose an elf, your intellect and accuracy go up, but your endurance and might go down. If you choose a dwarf, your intellect and speed go down, but your endurance and luck goes up. If you choose a gnome, your speed and accuracy goes down, but your luck goes up too. If you choose a half-orc, your intellect, luck, and personality all go down, but your might and endurance goes up. So we're trying to make a sorcerer here. So that's why I said, okay, I can work with a gnome, because I'll still have the speed of 13, and I don't really care about accuracy, but then it'll increase my luck, and I'll have a very lucky sorcerer gnome. So let's go with the gnome here. Let's actually hit the button. There we go. Now I can choose good, neutral, or evil. It does not seem to matter. So I'm going to choose an evil sorcerer. That just makes sense to me. You can have a good sorcerer, but we're going to have a good cleric. So let's have an evil sorcerer. And yes, you can mix and match in this game. So we're going to go with an evil sorcerer. We will... I didn't think that one through. Let's go with, like, a female name. That's all. I only have options of male or female, so we'll go with female name, and then I have a gnome name generator up here. I like that one. Shelvoth. And that's going to be my character. So, save the character, yes. And that is one character down. Like I said, I'm going to have 6 characters at the end of this. Maybe I'll replace the sorcerer. Maybe I'll make a couple of the same class just to see which one I like better. And then, of course, replacements are never a bad option early on in a game like this. So, I'm going to spend some time creating characters, and I will meet you on the other side, and we will pick up in the game next time. That's going to do it for this part of Might and Magic. I've been Baller Scuba. This has been Video Games Over Time. I hope you laughed. I hope you learned. And I hope to see you next time when we actually get to play Might and Magic. Thanks for watching.